Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Some more. It's Politics with Laura. We are revisiting birthright citizenship. We're revisiting it because President Trump, oh man, I didn't see this one coming. I did not see this one coming. I truly didn't.
That one has a
Woo! I mean, everybody is fighting. Everybody. I mean, there's like birthright citizenship. I was born here. Yeah, my parents were illegal, but I was born here. And you got people that are for, and you got people that are against. And you even have ignorant people that are sprinkled in between. And man, oh man, you got to love everyone. You gotta love everyone because their perspective either it is completely and utterly wrong, or it's like you gotta stop and just think, yeah, how does that even work in? You gotta love everybody. You just gotta love them.
Mommy, because I thought we were supposed to conserve it.
Okay, I got everything checked out. I'm live streaming here on YouTube and also on Rumble. So let's get into it. Birthright citizenship. Okay, now Trump, he has two additional executive orders that are out. And he's like, look, again, the 14th Amendment has nothing to do with illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. And people tell me, don't say illegal aliens because everybody is a human being. I'm like, look, right there is a legal term. Don't get mad at me. You go and you go down there and go tell the lawyers and the judges and the lawmakers, I don't like the way you say illegal aliens. And then here's the crazy part. On their alien card, right? It has an alien number. You can't make this stuff up. But anyway, I digress. It's going down. It is going down. Trump is like, if you think, oh no, I lost all of my man. Oh man, I had all these little videos. Damn. Okay, I'll bring it back up. Sorry about that. But he's like, if you think that you are going to step on the Constitution because you don't like where you come from and you want your children to be in another country and to have citizenship in another country because it gives you prosperity. And it's true. It's true. Look. Ask anyone that migrated here, especially the ones who are illegal. Oh, ask them and say, hey, let me ask you a question. When you have a child here, are you going to bring all your other family members? Yes, but okay, let me get down to the points. All right, now there are legal scholars that are on the street that are asking fundamental questions. And they want
citizenship.
okay, wait, I didn't mean that. Wait, I'm trying to bring these up. That are having interesting conversations. People are having interesting content. It's quite interesting. But let me bring him up. Now, just listen to what he's saying. Now, I have some for and against, and how I had it arranged, and all of a sudden, it's gone.
No, they're upholding the 14th Amendment, which states that if you're born on U.S. soil, the Supreme
Sorry
Court
about
will
that.
say birthright citizenship. They doubled down on it. They're upholding the 14th Amendment, which states that if you're born on U.S. soil, you're a U.S. citizen, even if your parents aren't. Well, you had all three liberal justices voting in favor of it, as was expected. You then also had Chief Justice John Roberts, Amy Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh voting with them as well. With Roberts saying citizenship then and now is the right to have rights. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today. But also, not to misunderstand what's happened. Trump is at the very least not finished fighting what he calls birth tourism. And the Republicans, they knew that the Supreme Court was going to be a long shot, which is why they've already introduced bills aimed at granting child citizenship if at least one of their parents is a citizen or a permanent resident. And Trump, he's kind of right now focusing on twins. Like today, the Supreme Court also ruled that states can ban male and female transgender athletes from playing in girls' sports teams in publicly funded schools. And then you also had the ability to cap on what political parties can spend on candidates, which is actually a law that came about in the wake of the Watergate scandal. But for now, share to spread the word, follow to stay in the loop.
All right. Look, the 14th Amendment has nothing to do with just people coming up and having babies here. No. President Trump has said it several times. And people have made reference to the, oh goodness, what is it called? Where is it? I just had it. The Dred Scott versus Sanford back in 1857, right? And what they're basically saying, matter of fact, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to bring it up, and we're just going to simply talk about it, because we have to bring, actual truth and actual law to this situation, or as we say up north, the situation. Especially in the Pennsylvania area. What's the situation? Well, we're going to have to bring proof, right? Not what we think, not especially how we feel. Nobody cares about how you feel, because your feelings have nothing to do with facts, right? So let's go ahead and let me share my screen. Here, Dred Scott, right? This is National Archives. All right. So here, and let's just take a quick look at this. Okay, the Dred Scott starts out in 1846. An enslaved black man named Dred Scott and his wife Harriet sued for their freedom in St. Louis Circuit Court, and they claimed that they were free due to their residence in a free territory where slavery was prohibited. So right now they're like, wait a minute. I left. I am no longer in that area. I fled slavery. Since I fled slavery, you can't come and get me. No, I am in a free area of Illinois. Yes, I'm in a free area, and okay, that's exactly what happened, right? So here it says the odds were in their favor. Really? Really? And they had a life, and they lived with their enslaver, an army surgeon at Fort Snelling, where they were in a free territory of Wisconsin, and Scott's freedom could be established on the grounds that they had been held in bondage for extended period of time. In an extended period in a free territory, where and were then returned to the slave state. The courts had ruled that this was in the past. However, what appeared to be a straightforward lawsuit between two private parties, interesting, became an 11-year legal struggle, which culminated in one of the most notorious decisions ever issued by the United States Supreme Court. Scott lost his case, which worked its way through the Missouri State court and then filed in a federal lawsuit. Excuse me. Then filed a new federal lawsuit, which ultimately reached to the Supreme Court. On the way to the Supreme Court, Dred Scott case grew a scope and a significance as slavery became the single most explosive issue in American politics. Now, okay, before I go any further, this has nothing to do with illegal immigrants whatsoever. It has nothing to do with them coming and it has nothing to do with them giving birth. No, it has to do with slavery. It does. So when you're saying, oh my goodness, my child, no. You should not jump on someone else's legislation. Now, if you want to come here illegally and do all this stuff and fight for your own amendment, I'm just saying, I think it's rude to jump on somebody else's pain and suffering so that you can leave your country and your children could be born in another place without even becoming a naturalized citizen. You have no stake in the game at all. Zero stake at all. And the people that come here legally and then become a naturalized citizen and then they want to have children, then they have people like you that come from their country trying to jump ahead of the line and trying to find any which way because you didn't want to do things the way things should have been done to begin with, the correct way, right? And as I always say, how you do one thing is how you do all things. So if you're trying to maneuver here, maneuver there, that's how you're going to basically conduct yourself in whatever land you're in. Maneuvering. I mean, right there's just my 2 cents. My 2 cents, but let me continue on with this. Oh, where's it at? Okay, here. So, by the time the case reached the high court, it had come to have an enormous political implication for the entire nation. In March 6, 1857, Chief Judge Roger B. Taney read the majority opinion of the court, which stated that enslaved persons cannot enslaved people were not citizens in the United States, and where they could expect any protections from the federal government or the courts. And that right there is where the jurisdiction comes in. Because people are like, oh my goodness, well, we have jurisdiction because you don't. No. You don't have jurisdiction. Now, if enslaved people didn't have jurisdiction and they were in the land before the establishment of the United States, right? The formal government, and then you weren't even on the land. So you don't have jurisdiction at all. You could say it. Lawyers say it, and they're going to sit there and whoever's paying. Okay, let me not say that. But the opinion also stated that Congress had no authority to ban slavery from the federal territories. This decision moved from the nation a step closer to civil war, and you know what happened. So here, the decision of Dred Scott and Sanford, considered by many legal scholars to have to be the worst ever rendered by Supreme Court, was overturned by the 13th and 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which abolished slavery and declared all persons born in the United States. And when they say all persons born in the United States, they are talking about people that their parents were born in the United States. Now you may say, politics with Laura. Look, that isn't true. You saw what that document stated. I know. That's why I got another one. Right? Okay, let me take this one down right here. Okay, let's come on. Okay, before I go to the next document, where's it at? Okay, here. Let me bring you another clip. Fair use, fair use. Here's another scholar.
Ruling, but I think they're missing the bigger picture. Listen up.
Decision, which I don't agree with, is okay now. We step up enforcement, we step up more enforcement, even though we're doing record amounts of enforcement now, we need to do more. And not only that, we need to,
Okay, I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Okay, here.
Parents unlawfully or temporarily present are, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause. So look how this is.
All right, I just showed you the jurisdiction of. If the slaves did not have jurisdiction to where the law could, the courts and the judges wouldn't protect them, how are illegal immigrants are going to have jurisdiction? You got to watch these little people and how they take their terminologies and try to confuse people. But I digress.
That is such bullshit. You're telling me that any woman can come here on vacation whenever she wants, when she's pregnant and she's so close to giving birth. So when that child is born in America, that child is automatically an American citizen. So fuck all the people who have been working hard and saving money, trying to come to this country legally. Like a woman can literally just come here on vacation, give birth, and that child is automatically an American citizen. It's such bullshit.
Okay. He said what he said. He said what he said. Now, let me go back to this other, what is it? Here, the citizenship that the President Trump, now he's going to explain it, or not him, but his lawyers are going to put their, here it is. Now here, I'm just going to go through the important parts, okay? Let me see, are there any questions? Okay. Now here, the executive order that he did back in January. As soon as he got into office, bam, right? Protecting the meaning of the value of American citizenship, right? So he says in Section 1, the purpose. Let me make this a little bigger. How can I make this a little bigger? Okay. All right, the privilege, the purpose, the privilege of the United States citizenship is a priceless and a profound gift. The 14th Amendment states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction of. I already said that. If slaves were not under the jurisdiction of, then illegal immigrants would not be under the jurisdiction of, right? Therefore, are citizens of the United States states and of the state in which you were born, okay? Wherein they reside. The provision rightly repudiated that the Supreme Court in the United States shamefully discussed, or the decision of the Dred Scott versus Sanford, U.S. blah, 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 which misrepresented the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent. Okay? We're not talking about any and everyone, right? Children of slaves. From eligibility for the United States citizenship solely based on their race. No. But the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally. To everyone within the borders of the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenships based on who were born in the United States, but not subject to the jurisdiction of. All right. Consistently with the understanding that Congress has furthered specified through legislation that a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a national a national and a citizen of the United States at birth, generally mirroring the 14th Amendment's text. Okay, so I thought that was extremely important. Now, let's get into what it represents. Okay, among the categories of individuals born in the United States are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the privilege of the United States citizenship does not automatically extend to persons born in the United States. 1. When that person's mother was unlawfully present at the United States and the father was not a United States citizen or lawfully permanent resident of the United States, and it's not even a permanent residence, period. It's naturalized citizen, and even Trump is extending grace. Time of the said person's birth. 2. When the person's mother's presence of the United States at the time of said person's born was lawful but temporary, such as but not limited to visiting the United States under the auspices of the visa waiver program, or visiting the students visiting on a student, work, or tourist visa, and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent residence time of the time of said person's birth, right? So let me see. There's something else. Okay, here. This is section 2, the policy. Okay, here, the United States citizen. All right, the policy of the United States that no department or agency of the United States government shall issue documents recognizing United States citizenship or accept documents issued by a state or local or the government or authorities purportedly to recognize the United States citizenship to a person, 1, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the person's father was not a United States citizen. Okay, we already got that. We got that. Okay. Let's see. There is something else I want to show you before I get to the other stuff. Okay, the definition used as an order, mother means the immediate female biological progenitor. Now, that's going to be quite interesting based on how the United States is going. What is a woman? What is a man, right? The father means the immediate male biological progenitor. Okay, and the general provisions, nothing in this order shall construe or impair or otherwise affect the authorities granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof. 2, the functions of the director of the Office of Management. Keep this in mind, this is big. The DOM, okay, or the budget relating to the budgetary or administrative legislative purposes. Now you got to keep in mind, this right here is as far as how the money is allocated. So when people are coming to the United States, right, how are they going to be taken care of? Who's going to pay for them, right? So this right here is extremely important, and I'm really glad that they put that in there. And then B, this order shall be implemented with applicable laws and subjects to availability and the appropriation. And that right there is by President Trump, and that's what he signed in January of 2025, last year. All right. And I thought that was quite interesting. Let me go ahead and get rid of this right here. And I got some more stuff. Now, here's another clip. And I'm going for and against. Okay, I want to be fair. All right, here.
If you're born on U.S. soil, you're a U.S. citizen, even if your parents aren't. Well, you had all three liberal justices voting in favor of it as was expected. You then also had Chief Justice John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh voting with them as well. With Roberts saying citizenship then and now is the right to have rights. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today. But also,
That's not true. We just talked about the Dred Scott, and it's all about slavery. So, and President Trump said it was about slavery. Now, some of you are like, oh my goodness, President Trump is a racist. Well, if he's a racist, then why is he, fighting so hard for children of slaves? Why? If he's such a racist. But I'm going to leave that alone. Everybody can have their own opinion, right? Let him continue.
you should not misunderstand what's happening. Trump is at the very least not finished fighting what he calls birth tourism. And the Republicans, they knew that the Supreme Court was going to be a long shot, which is why they've already introduced bills aimed at only granting a child citizenship if at least one of their parents is a citizen or permanent resident. And Trump, he's kind of right now focusing on his wins. Because today, the Supreme Court also ruled that states can ban male, female, transgender athletes from playing in girls' sports teams and publicly funded schools. And then you also have that lifted cap on what political parties can spend on.
Okay, he's going beyond what I'm simply trying to show. But here, Vaughn, how you doing? Okay, Laura, Trump is failing us. He seems to be doing everything that he rails against. Now, okay, Trump is one of those people you love to hate or you hate to love. He's one of those types of people, right? But if you look at exactly what the issue is, I don't know when you came, but Trump was referring to Dred Scott. Now, Dred Scott, him and his wife Harriet went to the free state of Illinois, and his what do you call it? His enslaver was like, nah, you got to go back, got to come back with me, and they fought for 11 years, and the Supreme Court said no. You don't have any rights at all. You're not even considered a citizen. You're not even a human being. You're basically property. So the 14th Amendment is simply about that, and that came about by the Dred Scott versus Sanford case. So that's a very important thing right there. Now there's something else I want to show. Okay, right here. Let me bring this up real quick. Let me take that off right there. Okay. Alrighty. Now right here. Now I got this from USA Today. Now, okay, Trump is making a second attempt to restrict birthright citizenship. Now, I'm going to tell you, before I even get into this, I'm going to tell you, people will say, okay, Vaughn says not even considered a human being, kind of like the immigrants today. Now, there are two types of immigrants, okay? And those of you who have watched my content, I married a man from Latin America, so I'm well aware of this. Now, when people come here legally, they do all the paperwork. I'm here. This is who I am. Compared to people, they come without paperwork. So you got to find out and who are you, and let's get your paperwork, and are you who you say that you are? So it becomes a security issue. Let me see. Vaughn says they work. Yeah, they work. And I'm going to tell you, look at what's going on. I'm going to do a video about South Africa. Man, it is real. It is real going on down there. They do the work for the rich people. Okay, not necessarily, because you got to be quite... look, rich people... rich people... That's... Let me think about how I want to say that. But let me get back to this article right here. Right? So here, Donald Trump is making a second attempt to limit the birthright citizenship. in the United States following the Supreme Court's decision in June that prohibited him from doing so. Now, this is what was his first attempt at birthright citizenship, of getting rid of it, and I just showed you that article, or not, well, not the article, but the decision that was made based on that, right? I'm sorry, not the decision, but his executive order laying it out. And like I said, I was a little surprised that he put the OBM, the Office of Budget Management. That was quite interesting, because people have to, eat and allocate money. Okay, but Trump's latest bid comes from 2 executive orders issued on August 8th. And that right there was just yesterday, right? The first targeted the birthright inside the United States, while the second prevents people from traveling to the United States for the purpose of giving birth on U.S. soil. Now, there's a lot of people that are doing that, namely the Red Dragon country. And you have other people from other countries that try to do that, and it's really interesting to see that. So the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling in Trump versus Barbara on June 30th rejected that the Trump's 2025 executive order that all children born in the United States to undocumented parents or immigrants or temporary visa holders are ineligible for birthright citizenship. Now, you got to be very, very clear on what is at stake here. Birthright citizenship, to have access to not only being an American citizen, but also gaining all of the resources. Let me show myself. Wait a minute. Okay, birthright citizenship. It gives you access to all the resources within the United States, but also you have that American passport. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of people that are from other countries. Oh, wait a minute, let me check. I haven't been. Oh, okay. I'm on Rumble and YouTube. Okay, so when Trump is saying is that being born in the United States is a privilege, understand what that means. And it's not being arrogant. Not being arrogant, not being this, not being that. People from all over the world are trying to come to the United States to live. And some people don't perish before they even get to the shores. So there is a big thing going on, as far as that is concerned. Okay. All right. And let me see. Trump's new order to deny citizenship to some children born in the United States is now narrowly tailored and would impact fewer people, USA reported. Now I find that quite interesting, because what he's saying is this. Okay. All right, I'm going to give some people grace, right? So if you have a green card, or even if you have a visa, we're going to show you some leniency, okay? But if you have 0, you get nothing, right? So here, they show a little diagram. Oh, this is cute, right? Denied citizenship. A designated alien enemy. Now, please get over the word alien. It is a legal term when it comes to immigration law. That's how they say it. So please don't say all people are human beings. We all know that. But we all know that there are people that are alien to other countries, or immigrant, or, okay, an employee of a foreign government. You can't. An employee of a qualifying international organization. That's big stuff right there. And the participant in fraud or commercial transaction. Wait a minute. Portia Williams on the Atlanta Housewives, her husband committed fraud. Oh my goodness, he committed fraud. Wait a minute, let me show myself. Her husband committed fraud and once try to sue the United States for denying him to be a naturalized citizen when he committed fraud on his paperwork. You can't make that up. Okay, Vaughn says that's crap. Okay, all right. I most definitely accept what you're saying. You see anything going on over here? I accept that. Okay. Let me see, where am I? Okay, here. Now, the first order replaces the previous group of children of immigrants and visa holders with a narrow category of children whom the administration says are not entitled to birthright citizenship. And the United States is one of the few countries, and matter of fact, not even one of the few countries. Now, if they were to really go according to the law, right, you just can't have a baby and then get birthright citizenship. No, you can't get it. By law, if you were to look at the 14th Amendment, it would tell you you can't get it at all because of this, right? You can't get if you're a diplomat. You can't get if you come here illegally. Only if you're a naturalized citizen that you have gone through all of the vetting to say, okay, we'll accept you as a citizen, a naturalized citizen. Now you can have everything that American-born people whose people have been here, were born here, then had children, or then have been here for generations, right? But, you know, it is what it is, right? So the order applies to neither parents. I'm sorry. The order applies when neither parent is a U.S. citizen and at least one parent is classified as a designated alien enemy. Woo! And that's people who come to commit treason or to do something to harm the United States, including certain individuals with terrorist designations, work for a foreign government, or like, look, Ilhan Omar, she's been named in a lawsuit. Man, she's an asset of Qatar and Iran. Very interesting. Qualifying international organization and participation in commercial arrangements, including surrogacy, intended to a secure birthright citizenship. And a second says it ends birth tourism. Now that right there is big business. As I said earlier, it's big business. And the United States gives birth to children and obtain U.S. citizenship for children, and especially the Red Dragon country. All right, the Red Dragon country, because a lot of them come, have babies, U.S. babies, then go back to the Red Dragon country, and then have them come later to enter different politics or whatever they're going to do that's going to alter what we have going on here. Now, I have a good friend, and we battle all the time. Now, she's a socialist slash communist. I don't want to put communist on her name, but she's a straight lefty. She's okay with letting the United States go. Go ahead. We have done so many horrible things, right? And not taking into consideration of the people. She's looking at the government, but forgetting the people. Like, okay, I'm going to have all these people coming around my area and, you know, doing whatever. So I'm like, look, you're not thinking about the people inside of the country. You should be only looking at the government and the people that run the government, but don't sacrifice the people, the citizens, in spite of what the United States has done. She's ready to let everybody get slaughtered. She's like, get them all. And I hope you're watching. I know you. I can hear her now. Girl, why'd you say that about me? Yeah, I'm making fun of you. Okay. All right. And there's, okay, that right there. And the mother was lawfully but temporarily present including being on a tourist, student, or work visa, and the father was not a citizen or a green card holder. Now, I understand this very well because I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen, but my ex-husband came here on a visa, and then he was working on a green card when we had our children. So my children have actually dual citizenship between, my ex-husband's country, his country, and here. So they're U.S. citizens, but they're also citizens of his country. So that's a completely different video. Okay, the mother was unlawfully present in the country, and the father was not a citizen or a green card holder. So it's giving different scenarios. It's like if the father has a green card and the mother is not, has undocumented, or the father was holding a visa, or the mother had a visa but the father was undocumented. There's so many different scenarios, so many. So it goes on. Oh, right here. What is that? Okay. No, this is interesting. Now, how many people gain citizens through birthright citizenship? According to the estimate of, or the estimator of the Migration Policy Institute of Penn State, Population Research Institute, ending birthright citizenship would result in an average of 250,000 children being born in the United States. Without citizenship, each year would increase the number of unauthorized people living in the United States by 2.7 million in 2045. And by 2075, 5.4 million people. I think those numbers are skewed because you're not even considering the 30 million people that came in the 3-year period that Joe Biden was president. Let's see. Rumble. Okay. I'm gonna put down a link for you, for anybody who wants to come up and just look unauthorized immigrants since 1990. Now just look right here, 3.5 million, and just see how it's going up. Unauthorized immigrants. I mean, what is so hard about just coming here like everybody else does? Let's see who you are. Here, unauthorized, 2015, 11 million. Unauthorized, 2019. 2021, 10 million. Unauthorized immigrants. And now here, 2023. And I say, how you do one thing is how you do all things. If you come here without documentation before you even get here, to even have acceptance, and those of you who know me know that I do this, right? I talk to all people, right? And I ask people, I was asking this guy, this Venezuelan guy, about 2 years ago. I said, look, you're saying that, that you're able to be here because Venezuela is doing really bad, this, that, and the other. I'm like, no, I read the newspapers in your country, and you got all these job opportunities. You just don't want to sit your behind down in that chair and go to college and do some extra work. He sort of looked at me and gave me a little smile like, yeah, you got me. Yeah, I did get you. But I asked him, I said, look, let me ask you this question. Can anybody come into your house and eat your food, use your heat, use your shower, wear your clothes? Would you allow that? Oh no, I'm calling the police. Oh, wait a minute. Can we at least see, make associations? Can we connect the dots here? Can we please do that? Can we? And I ask that of people from different countries, and one of the things it doesn't fail. I don't care if you come from the Dragon country. I don't care if you come from Cambodia. I don't care if you come from South Africa, Cameroon, or England. Now, England, you better not be saying no crazy stuff like that. My government's suppressing me. No, the only person in England that can say that is Prince Harry, and it's true. Okay, he's the only one who's able to swim from Mexico to the United States and actually have a real gripe against the government, which is his father. Okay, and you see how you see how they treat him, his father, and his man. Now he's the only one in the world that has the right to say my government is abusing me. Okay, he's the only one that has that right, the true one that has that right to say that. But when you come from other countries and you vote for the people and you're too afraid to stand up. I mean, Prince Harry stood up against his family, and you don't stand up against your government. Nah, the United States, we're always fighting, always fighting against the government. And here's the interesting part, and then I'm going to move on. It's interesting how people that say that they're oppressed by their government, right? But they have no smoke for the government in which they come from. I'm afraid, I'm scared. But when you come here, all of a sudden, you better give me this, you better give me that, you better give me my EBT, you better give me my right to do this. And then all of a sudden, you got all this to say. You got all of this. You got all this yap. But you didn't have it for your government in which you come from. That's something to really look at. I mean, really pay attention to what's in front of you. Really pay attention. And I did a video last year, and you really pay attention. It benefits them economically, right? It benefits them greatly because the US dollar goes far in their country. So I'm going to pick on Honduras because I did the numbers. I crunched the numbers. And in 1 month, and this is only the United States, nowhere else. In 1 month, Honduras, they send $30 million every month. That's all Hondurans here that are sending money to their home country for their families, right? I know it because I've done the same thing with my ex-husband. That was another video. They act like that they don't have any universities. They act like schools don't exist. Okay. 30 million. Now, if you take that 30 million, that becomes 2.2 billion in 1 year. Now, America is not a rich country. We may pretend we have our Perrier water in our Gucci bag with an EBT card. Like, yes, wait a minute. I got my food stamp card. Right? We're broke. We're only running on a couple of big cities generating the money to where a lot of the big business goes on, right? One question. $2.2 billion. All that money going to Honduras. Why is it still in a disarray? Why are people still poor? Why is it like that? You can't blame the government. No. You can't blame the government. The money's going directly to the families. That's some BS. That is some BS. They're taking the money and they're living the high society life, and nobody's thinking about getting an education. Nobody's thinking about working for the government and changing things for the people. Nobody's thinking about anything other than themselves. That is it. You can't sit there and blame the government at all. You can't. If you do, you're lying and your butt stinks. Okay? That's a lie. It's a complete and utter lie. All right. Well, I'm done with that article right there. I'm done with that. Okay, wait a minute. And fair use to another video. Fair use, fair use.
History. Understand
Oh, God.
the Reconstruction Amendments after the Civil War.
Okay, before he goes on, before he continues on, Stephen Miller. People love to hate him, and people hate to love him. I don't know, hate to love him. Okay, but let him go ahead. But look, pay attention to what he says, because it goes back to the two previous articles that I brought in the very beginning. Pay attention. Just close your eyes and pretend it's not him. Don't allow your bias to skew what's being said. Okay?
Anybody who has read even 30 seconds of American history understands the Reconstruction Amendments after the Civil War were to ensure that the children of slaves would be franchised in the United States. The author of the 14th Amendment was clear in saying it did not apply to aliens. There should be a 9-0 ruling in a functioning democracy. The idea that you can have a country where you just set foot on U.S. soil and any child you have gets to be an American citizen and vote in our elections, collect our welfare, sit in our juries, sit in judgment of our fellow men and women is such an outrage to the idea of having a country. It defies the scripture. I don't know what they're going to do, but here's what I can say. If this country does it one way or another, and birthright citizenship, this country doesn't have a future.
Well, here's another one. Fair use, fair use.
The idea that somebody who was 9 months pregnant and walked over the border 5 minutes ago and pushed their baby out on U.S. soil is just as much an American citizen as the people who were either born here or who went through the lengthy, difficult, challenging, expensive immigration process to earn their U.S. citizenship should be infuriating to everybody. This is not about being a racist or being discriminatory or about being a phobic of some kind. This is about the fact that being an American citizen means something. We have our own values. We have our own expectations. We have our own culture. Becoming an American citizen is a privilege. It's not a right. And it's something that you should have to earn. But what the Supreme Court did today was just issue a ruling that's going to allow for more abuse of our immigration system. So when you hear people like myself start talking about wanting an actual amendment to fix this problem, it's not because we don't want people to come here. But we're tired of every system in our country giving the middle finger to hardworking American citizens and putting everybody else on the planet before us.
Okay, I disagree with her because we don't need to make another amendment. We don't. The only thing that what we need to do is simply apply the law to the 14th Amendment. That's all, that is it. Because it spells it out. Let me see if I can find the 14th Amendment. Let me find that real quick. Oh my goodness. Because it spells it out. It says, let me see. Before I start saying what it says, let me write down. Let me see. 14th. Oh wow, it just popped right up. Okay, come on. Now I'm trying to find the actual 14th Amendment. Oh, come on. I found it any other time, but let me see. This is not going the way I want it to. Come on, where are you? I'm trying to find the actual okay, here. Okay, forgive me for that. Forgive me for that. Alrighty, alrighty. It's not the one that I wanted, but okay, here, the 14th Amendment under Britannica. So the 14th Amendment in 1868, the Constitution of the United States grants the citizenship and equal civil and legal rights to all persons or naturalized in the United States. The intent of the amendment was to ensure equal protection of the formerly enslaved Black Americans who had gained their freedom after the Civil War. In all, the 14th Amendment comprised 5 sections, 4 of which began in 1866 to separate proposals that installed in legislative process were later amalgamated along with the 5th and 4th section into a single amendment. Let me see if I could bring this up. Let me see. Are you seeing that? Yeah. So here, try to make it. Man, this is really okay. Here, this is the actual writing, I believe, and it's still the president and vice president. Okay. To me, it's still not very clear. And who signed this? The Secretary of State. I don't know. Mallory? I don't know who that is. And you have the actual signatures, which are, you know, well, their writing is a little bit better than mine. But you see it right there. The 14th Amendment has everything to do with the former slaves, and to make, and when they say all persons in the United States at that time that were dealing, you know, with a citizenship. Now, keep in mind, even before that, yet, oh, man, okay, I'm not even going to get into that because that's going to take my thought to someplace else. But let me move that. I think no, I know I'm done with that. Is there one more thing? I got one more thing that I want to talk about, but let me just do this last video. Fair use.
Court just saved birthright citizenship. They doubled down on it, upholding the 14th Amendment, which states that if you're born on U.S. soil, you're a U.S. citizen even if your parents aren't. Well, you had all 3 liberal justices voting in favor of it as expected. You then also had Chief Justice John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh voting with them as well. With Roberts saying citizenship then and now is the right to have rights. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today. But also, you should not misunderstand what's happening. Trump is at the very least not finished fighting what he calls birth tours. And the Republicans, they knew that the Supreme Court was going to be a long shot, which is why they've already introduced bills aimed at only granting a child citizenship if at least one of their parents is a citizen or permanent resident. And Trump, he's kind of right now focusing on his wins. Because today, the Supreme Court also ruling that states can ban male, female, transgender athletes from playing on girls' sports teams and publicly funded schools. And then you also had that
Okay, that right there went beyond beyond what I was presenting, right? So keep in mind what Birthright Citizen is about. Just keep that in mind. That is it. And one last thing, and then I'm gonna. Oh, let me pull up. If you want to come up and state your piece, we could have a conversation about it. And let me see. Rumble, if you want to come up, come on up. Come on up. Let me get rid of this stuff over here. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Now, keep in mind what birthright citizenship is about. Okay. It's not about what's going on today. We didn't even have an immigration problem. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something. Back then in the 1880s, you had Mexicans that were coming up to the United States to work, and they did it for like about 50 years. They came up and worked, and then they left and went back to Mexico. So they weren't looking for birthright citizenship. They were just simply looking to work on the farms or wherever they were working, whatever they were doing. And then they came to the border, crossed through the border. They stated who they were, showed whatever paperwork that they had, and then they went back home. So when you start saying all this birthright citizenship, look it up. Don't believe a thing that I'm saying. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to go someplace else. But look that up. Look at the people that were from Mexico coming up to work and then going back. And then if they decided that they wanted to come to the United States to become a citizen, they went through the paperwork and they did it in which the way the United States had their immigration the laws that were set the way they did it. They went through the proper channels at that time. But just to come and have babies and no. You don't do that. You can't do that in South Africa. You can't do that in Cameroon. You can't do that in the Red Dragon country. You can't even do that in the Ireal country. Nah. No, they're gonna put you on a plane while you're giving birth. You're gonna have birth on international waters, and then you don't really know where. I mean, it gets deep. It gets really deep. But let me show that. Let me show this one last one right here. Where is it? Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Now, here, again, targets birthright citizenship after Supreme Court's loss. And this right here was yesterday. I hate all these ads. Oh my goodness. Okay. I hate all these pop-ups. Okay, here, President Trump is making a bid to curtail the birthright citizenship after the Supreme Court ruled his earlier efforts was unconstitutional. I still don't know how that happened. Announcing a pair of executive orders limiting the who qualifies for the automatic citizenship and cracking down on the so-called birthright or birth tourism. What happened? Okay, and we had a very unfortunate decision. Okay, I'm not going to go through all that again. But Trump's new push to deny citizenship to some children born in the United States is more narrowly tailored to what impact fewer people. And the administration said it focuses on children who do not fall into the rule of birthright citizenship is announced by the Supreme Court. So you have to have some type of legal standing, right? So if you come here illegally and you have a baby, you or your husband or your boyfriend or whomever he may be, the two of you are undocumented, and they're saying that your child is a U.S. citizen. I mean, really stop and think about that. And really stop and think about the people that are perverting the Constitution. Ask yourself, how do they benefit? What do they get out of it? Really, just really stop and think what's going on politically, and why is it that they want to remove that part of the Constitution and then turn it into something that it doesn't say. All people, well, all people around the world can come here and have babies right here and not have a legal standing. It doesn't even get into the sovereignty issue. I mean, a sovereign land has a set of rules, and you're saying, well, your rules don't mean nothing to me at all. I'm going to have my baby, and your people are going to allow me to do it because they're trying to. Okay, I don't want to go that far, but just keep in mind of why. Why are and I'm going to say the Democratic Party, because they really pushed for it. And I'm going to say why the Supreme Court, and I already know Sotomayor, she's going to say most definitely, forget about those slaves. Forget about them. We're going to allow everybody to come here. Forget about you all slaves. We're going to put you back on the bottom again. You're going to be slaves again. Okay. I may be stretching it. Okay. But but it's something that we really should really take a look at it. Just take a look and ask yourself. The 14th Amendment or the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Those three amendments pertain to only black people. That's it. And that's post-Reconstruction, after slavery. And just stop. Just really forget about all the emotion. Oh, well, my family is from another country and they migrated over here, so that's going to pertain to my family from from another country, and I want them to come. Forget about that. Look at the rule of law and look at how that would affect the United States. How would that affect the people that have always been here? Just a thought. That is it. Just think about it. And okay, no, I'm not gonna say that. But just think about it. That's all that I ask. Just think about it. That is it. But I'm going to see. Do I want to continue with this? And right here, ineligible. Now, just stop and think. They're basically suggesting is that we have no criteria. No, because everybody's eligible. No one could ever be ineligible. No one could ever be, because the doors are open and everyone is accepted. So we don't believe in saying that somebody is ineligible. Just stop and think. That's all I'm asking. Just stop and think about it. Remove your biases. Remove, I hate Trump. I hate Stephen Miller. I hate. Fine. You hate him. We got it. We understand it. But move past your hate and look at the underlying thing, our sovereignty. We've had sovereignty for 250 years. So just stop and think about that. That's all that I ask. That is it. On that note, I want to thank you for stopping by.
Not going back to Haiti. This is the time for all of us to.
Can I ask you?